So we have to talk about Zohran Mamdani, right? The person the radical socialist who just won his primary for mayor of New York City. He's pretty much doubling down on his socialist ideas, talking about how he wants to, obviously tax, wider neighborhoods more in taxes. And he also believes that billionaires shouldn't exist. And it's sad to see this. It's sad to see this because it's either the people that vote for him, the people that support him, are either too naive to understand like the impact this has on not just New York City, but America overall. Or they're either just they've given up, or they're too disillusioned with their life, and that they want the whole thing to burn, right? That they're not happy with where they're going in life, and they just want the thing to burn, and they see this guy as the person to start that fire. And it's sad because this does have a huge impact, going forward when it comes to how people see, this race. So let's hear what he has to say. He's on the Meet the Press, and he's gonna talk more about some of his policies. So let's hear what he had to say, and then I'll share my thoughts.
My next question about grocery stores. Some executives, including one of the top grocery stores owners, billionaires, threatening to shut down his supermarket in the city. John Catsimatidis, who runs Gristedes grocery chain, you're probably very familiar with him. He said this on election day, quote, "If the city of New York is going socialist, I will definitely close or sell or move or franchise the Gristedes locations." In order to run New York City successfully as mayor, do you not need the support of a billionaire businessman like John Catsimatidis?
I don't know if I need his support specifically, but I want to make clear that my vision for this city is a vision for every single New Yorker, including business leaders across the city. And the reason I say that is that my proposals, even the ones to increase the top corporate tax rate of New York to match that of New Jersey, are ones that would also benefit those business leaders. Because when I have conversations with them, what I also hear is just how expensive this city is preventing them from attracting and retaining the talent they need to grow their business. And ultimately, I'm looking forward to having those meetings, having those sit-downs to make clear why this vision would benefit all.
We went on your website and realized there's a policy proposal that says your plan, and I'm going to quote it for folks, is to shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed. Yeah, We've seen time and again that this is a property tax system that is inequitable. It's one that actually Eric Adams ran on saying that he would change in the first 100 days. He's since sought to defend it and lost at every juncture in court.
And I understand.
See, and this is the thing, like when you hear this guy talk, right? He says things that that sound nice, right? Like it's easy to say, especially when you got a bunch of people that of course that support him. They're probably not doing well in life. They're struggling, right? They're they're probably living paycheck to paycheck. So it's easy to attack wealthy people, right? The billionaires, right? Because no one feels sorry for them, right? They're wealthy, they're well off. So it's easy to attack them because most people are not going to feel sorry for them, right? Especially people that don't really understand the economics of that. So when he's talking about, taxing wealthy white people, that's an easy target to go after because no one's going to feel sorry for them. But when you actually like break it down and really understand, like, okay, you're going to tax all these people, you're going to increase their taxes, and it gets to a point where they say, you know what, I'm going to leave. Right? They're going to say, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm not going to tolerate that because they have the money. They have the resources. They can just up and leave the state. And then where are you going to get the money from? Right? That's going to reduce revenue. And then you won't be able to pay for your programs, your free buses, your free supermarkets, your free, housing. You won't be able to pay for these things because the money is leaving. The tax dollars are leaving. Because you're taxing so much. So when you hear somebody like this talk, and a lot of these politicians, these frauds, and I give him credit. He's a really good actor. He's a really good actor. He speaks the part. He speaks like a politician. He says things that is always going to tug on the heartstrings and the emotions of everyday people that don't really understand the economics. Right? He's going to say things that's going to say, yes, people need to afford groceries. People need to afford housing. Of course, people need to do that. People should be able to do that. But the way they go about it is obviously the wrong way to do it because all it's going to do is just going to make housing worse, right? It's going to create shortages, make things more expensive. You look at these grocery stores, they don't really have they have a very small margin when it comes to profit. So whenever program that he tries to implement, it's going to make it even more difficult for these grocery stores to operate. And just like anybody that, you know, owns a rental property, owns a business, if you're not making money, there's no incentive to keep it going. So you're just going to shut it down and leave. And therefore, the people that are going to suffer are the people that live there. Right. And that's what his policies are going to do. And a lot of people that vote for him and support him don't really understand that, because all they see is that all he talks about is just how he's going to make their life better, the things that they want to hear. But his policies are not, they don't understand how his policy is going to make things worse. And that's what a lot of these politicians do. They talk nice, they talk, and the AOC does it. All these Democrats do it. And you think about it, it's Democrats that are running these states. And this is why everything is so expensive, because their policies, their regulations are making everything so expensive there for everyone to live. All right. So you just listen to this guy. He's clearly just a joker. Like, this guy is clearly a fraud. He doesn't, his policies, he knows his policy is not going to work. And a lot of business owners know that as well. So let's hear what else he has to say.
And you're saying we're simply describing the types of neighborhoods that would see these increase in taxes, and yet by invoking race, do you run the risk of potentially alienating key constituents?
I think I'm just naming things as they are. And ultimately, the thing that motivates me in this is to create a system of fairness. It is not to work backwards from a racial assessment of neighborhoods or our city. Rather, it's to ensure that we actually have an equal playing field. And right now what we see with the property tax system is one that is overtaxing a number of New Yorkers and undertaxing others, and an inability of political will to resolve that.
So no plans to change that language on your website?
The focus here is to actually ensure a fair property tax system, and that the use of that language is just an assessment of the neighborhood.
All right. You are a self-described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires, because frankly it is so much money in a moment of such inequality, and ultimately what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer.
Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, there's people, the people that say that we shouldn't have billionaires, it's like, what do you think America would look like if we didn't have billionaires? We wouldn't be the #1 country that we are without this much prosperity, right? It's like, if you create an Amazon, all right, and people find value in that product, service, then the person that created that should be allowed to make that amount of money. That is the American dream. All right, like, you should be able to make that amount of money because you bring so much value to the world, right? And to say that they shouldn't exist is just like how is that possible? Like, you're saying that if people find value, like they're paying for it, like they're paying for the services, I'm using Amazon, I'm using that business, that product, and that service, then how can you stop somebody from making the money? Like, once they hit that billionaire mark, they're like, okay, now we should stop the business. That's just not how things work. If a company is making that much money, it's because they are bringing a lot of value. And when you hear somebody say something like that, that is antithetical to the American value that we have in America. It's just that this person doesn't belong here. Like, this is America. We are a capitalistic country. All right? That's what makes us so great. And for someone to come in here and talk about how we shouldn't have, billionaires shouldn't exist, and capitalism is a bad thing, that person shouldn't be here, because that's who we are in this country. And yes, we want to make sure other people have the opportunity to build something for themselves as well. But you do have that opportunity. You want to start a business, you can do that. You put in the work and the effort, that you educate yourself, you can do that. Now everybody's not going to be a billionaire, but that you don't need to be a billionaire to do okay. But I understand, like, this person, he's targeting a group of people that probably just doesn't feel like they are benefiting from the American system. So of course it's easy just to attack capitalism. It's easy to attack rich people, and when you have that group of people that feel that way, it's easy to exploit their vulnerability. Okay, and that's what he's doing, because this guy is clearly a fraud. This person he's anti-American. Okay, and he shouldn't be able to run any office here in the United States. But the people voted for him, and I guess we'll see how that goes. So those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure you leave a comment down below, hit the like button, share, and if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. So you guys take care, have a good one. Later.